No one in the royal family is more notorious than the Playboy Prince himself, Prince Andrew. But does his family think he's as shady as we do? Here's what we know.
Compared to how Princess Anne and older brother Charles were treated as children, Prince Andrew was spoiled. To put it mildly, Andrew has frequently been rumored to be his mother's favorite. So much so that Netflix The Crown even included this as the theme of an episode in season 4.
Everyone knows who your favorite is.
Do they?
Yes.
While it could merely be that the Queen had more time to commit to motherhood when she had her second 2 children compared to her first 2, since her older 2 children were born just before she became Queen, the evidence that she paid special attention to Andrew is a bit too convincing to ignore. According to the Daily Mail, Andrew had a reported 7 nurseries in 4 different palaces, and even as a baby, was called Baby Grumpling, and other nicknames poking fun at his tendency to get into trouble. His knack for trouble followed him throughout his life, but he never seemed to be punished too severely, if at all. The Daily Mail noted a particular instance of Andrew's pompousness when he underplayed a tragedy while visiting Lockerbie, where Pan Am Flight 103 crashed in December 1988, killing 11 locals on the ground, 243 passengers, and 16 crew members. Andrew told those grieving in Lockerbie that the tragedy was much worse for the Americans, which numbers-wise was true. It was still thoughtless and unprofessional, considering 270 people had been killed in total after a bomb on board the plane exploded, leading to the crash. The Queen responded to Andrew's insensitive behavior by simply saying, "I wish I had gone." Those who frequently watch Netflix's The Crown may already be aware, but despite being younger than Princess Anne, Prince Andrew was next in line for the throne after their elder brother Charles and his children. This is due to a technicality under the Succession of the Crown Act of 2013, which states, quote, "The gender of a person born after October 28, 2011 does not give that person or that person's descendants precedence over any other person whenever born, when determining the succession of the crown." According to Express, after Prince Andrew was stripped of his royal privileges, many citizens of the UK came out to say that Princess Anne would make a better ruler than any of her siblings. One Express reader commented, "Now is the time to right a wrong and end discrimination against our excellent Princess Anne."
I know what you mean.
According to Vanity Fair, despite being in her 70s now, Princess Anne continues to work, even as Prince Andrew was pushed into retirement after the scandal of his association with the late Jeffrey Epstein was brought to light. Considering that Princess Anne and Prince Andrew are kind of opposites, it seems likely that the two may not always get along. Princess Anne has been known for her straightforward nature, and she is the self-described boring old fuddy-duddy at the back saying, "Don't forget the basics," according to Vanity Fair. In contrast, Prince Andrew is well known for not being too serious and having perhaps a little bit too much fun on occasion. Opposing personalities normally can be overlooked for the sake of familial obligation and love, but that may not always be enough to keep squabbles at bay. According to David Lee, co-author of The Duchess of York Uncensored, Anne once called Sarah Ferguson, Andrew's wife, an outsider at a family lunch, and there was a furious row between Andrew and Anne. After Ferguson left the lunch crying, Prince Andrew demanded that Anne apologize, and she reportedly did. Despite differing personalities and some occasional tension, all too common amongst siblings, Princess Anne and Prince Andrew have quite a bit in common. For one thing, they both went through very public breakups the very same year. In 1992, both Prince Andrew and Princess Anne experienced changes within their marriages. Andrew and his wife, Sarah Ferguson, legally separated that year, though they weren't officially divorced until 1996. And in April of 1992, Princess Anne officially divorced her husband, Mark Phillips. She later married Timothy Lawrence in December of the same year. Another thing Andrew and Anne have in common is that they both have 2 children. Anne has a son, Peter, and a daughter, Zara Ann, and Andrew has 2 daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. While we're sure their experiences varied, it's possible they exchanged parenting advice, as most siblings in similar situations would. After Prince Andrew's past came back to haunt him, and he began dealing with the legal fallout of having been associated with the late Jeffrey Epstein, Princess Anne and the rest of her siblings got together to discuss what would come to be referred to as the Andrew problem. A source told the Daily Mail, the three siblings held several meetings, one of which included Prince Andrew. They were all in agreement, which took the pressure off their mother, but it is the Queen, ultimately, who still has the power here. The source explained how the Queen's eldest son, Charles, and Prince Andrew, quote, aren't particularly close, so it was important that any meetings were held with Anne and Edward present. This could be seen in one of two ways. One, it could be seen as the siblings getting together to bully Andrew out of his royal and military titles, leaving him essentially an outcast. Or two, it can be seen as all the siblings, Andrew included, coming together to discuss how to take the pressure off their mother after Andrew's attempt at getting the court case dismissed failed. Either way, the family at least came together to handle the news.
Princesses Eugenie and Beatrice have celebrated their father, Prince Andrew, in the past. But how do they feel now that he may have cost them their roles in the royal family? Prince Andrew's ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson, has been remarkably open about the pair's decade-long marriage. In a 2007 interview with Harper's Bazaar, she revealed that Andrew was deployed on military service only 2 weeks after their wedding, and that she spent nearly the entirety of her pregnancy with the pair's first daughter by herself. Things didn't improve after Princess Beatrice was born. In fact, Ferguson added that her husband only received 10 days of leave following the birth, and then he was right back out at sea. In response, she claimed that the team at Buckingham Palace essentially told her to deal with it. She shared, "When he left and I cried, they all said, 'Grow up and get a grip.'" Beatrice was born only 2 years after her parents got married in 1986, which likely made her mother's isolation feel even more intense. Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson's divorce became official in 1996, after the two first separated in 1992. Unlike a lot of divorced couples, Andrew and Sarah stayed close, literally. In fact, they both continued to live in Andrew's home, Royal Lodge, and the two raised their daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, there together. As Sarah once explained to The Telegraph, the relationship they have with their kids was worth it. She said, "We are co-parents who support each other and believe that family is everything. I'm proud of the job we have done together in bringing up our children and sustaining a strong family unit. Our bywords are communication, compromise, and compassion. That's not all that the family of four do together." As numerous outlets have reported over the years, including The Guardian, Andrew has also made a point to take family vacations with Sarah, Beatrice, and Eugenie. In 2016, Princess Eugenie opened up in an interview with Harper's Bazaar about her day-to-day routine. After revealing that she typically goes to bed at midnight, Eugenie added that the one thing in the world she can't do without is her family, including her mom, Sarah Ferguson, and her dad, Prince Andrew. After explaining that both her mother and her sister, Princess Beatrice, are the people she turns to when faced with tough decisions, Eugenie revealed that her dad is, quote, "the rock of the family." Eugenie has also previously credited both of her parents with helping her and Beatrice stay grounded and focused under the constant scrutiny of both the media and the public at large. As she once said, her parents are the reason she's able to hold herself together. Eugenie shared with British Vogue, "We've had some serious grounding from our parents. They've had their fair share of terrible media interest, and it makes us stronger." Of the two sisters, Princess Eugenie is a lot more forward-facing than her more private sister, Princess Beatrice. While Beatrice doesn't have a public Instagram account, Eugenie does, and it certainly seems like she loves to use that account, in part, to celebrate the relationship that still exists between her parents. In July 2019, Eugenie turned to Instagram to congratulate her parents on what would have been their 33rd wedding anniversary, concluding the post by writing, "Thank you for always being the best of friends and bringing us up together." In a lot of ways, it seems like one reason Eugenie feels so comfortable celebrating their wedding anniversary is because Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson have done so much work together to appear as a united team for their children. While Andrew has not commented publicly on their relationship, Sarah explained to the Mirror, "Well, we're very happily divorced. It might sound strange, but we believe very firmly in what we've got." Princess Beatrice gave birth to her first biological child with husband Edoardo Mapelli Mazzi in September 2021. While many of her family members were able to be on hand to help welcome little Sienna Elizabeth into the world, one person was notably absent. Just as he was not able to be present for Sarah Ferguson's pregnancy with Beatrice, Prince Andrew also missed out on the birth of Beatrice's daughter in London. The reason, however, couldn't be more different. The reason Andrew couldn't be there for Beatrice is that he was reportedly hiding out in hopes of avoiding Virginia Giuffre's legal team, who intended to notify him of Giuffre's intent to sue for sexual abuse and assault. According to CNN, Giuffre's team was eventually successful, and Andrew ended up not meeting his first granddaughter until 2 weeks after she was born. A source expressed surprise about that fact to The Sun, saying that even given Andrew's circumstances at the time, it is quite something that he had to wait almost 2 weeks before he met her.
Throughout the years, Charles has made it clear that a royal childhood isn't all it's cracked up to be. As a young boy, he sometimes didn't see Queen Elizabeth for months, as she traveled on royal tours as a princess or with Prince Philip on naval assignments. After her coronation, she became busier than ever, and while Prince Philip was available to be a bit more hands-on, she was not. By the time Prince Andrew was born, Elizabeth was settled in as queen and had a more relaxed manner than she had previously. Andrew's birth was notable because he was the first child born to a reigning British monarch since 1857. Royal historian Robert Lacey told Town & Country that the monarch even, quote, decided that she had done her duty by her country and took the best part of 18 months off work to produce and enjoy her second family, the young princes Andrew and Edward. The differences in their childhood and the close bond between Elizabeth and Andrew was likely not lost on Charles. Things weren't always tense between the two brothers. They spent a great deal of time together when Charles married Princess Diana, who would go on to set Prince Andrew up with her friend Sarah Ferguson. Once the pair married, the two couples often accompanied each other in public. Royal expert Katie Nicholl told 9 Honey, "There absolutely has been rivalry between Andrew and Charles, but my understanding is that rivalry developed at a later stage in life, and that actually, when they were young princes enjoying their early years of marriage, they were the Fab Four." She noted that the couples went on vacations together. Of course, neither of the marriages panned out, and the camaraderie between the brothers also appeared to dwindle. Just days into 2015, Prince Andrew was named in a sex abuse lawsuit by Virginia Giuffre, who claimed Jeffrey Epstein lent her to the Duke of York in an act of sex trafficking when she was underage. Andrew would maintain his innocence with the apparent support of the royal family, but behind the scenes, relations between the family were reportedly tense. Rumors indicated that Charles, in particular, was frustrated with the negative attention and associations Andrew was bringing to the family. At first, he handled that by not speaking to Andrew at all. A source told the Daily Mail, Charles considers the whole sex scandal degrading, damaging, and very embarrassing. He thinks that his brother has made some very bad decisions, but he has said nothing to Andrew. He simply hasn't communicated with him at all. Everything came into motion in August 2019, when Jeffrey Epstein reportedly died by suicide in his jail cell, one day after documents detailing abuse claims against him were unsealed. In November, Prince Andrew agreed to sit down for an interview with the BBC's Newsnight. He defended himself against sex abuse allegations and commented on his friendship with Epstein.
But you were staying at the house of a convicted sex offender.
It was a convenient place to stay.
The interview didn't do him any favors with the public, as there was intense public outcry against him in the aftermath.
That's a very stark way of putting it. Yes, you're absolutely right.
After the interview aired, family-wide crisis management conversations reportedly took place that included the Queen and Charles, and Andrew soon publicly announced he was stepping down from public duties. A statement shared by Buckingham Palace reads, in part, "It has become clear to me over the last few days that the circumstances relating to my former association with Jeffrey Epstein has become a major disruption to my family's work. Therefore, I have asked Her Majesty if I may step back from public duties for the foreseeable future, and she has given her permission." Charles has likely wanted brother Prince Andrew to stay out of the spotlight since the sexual assault allegations came out against him, as his bad reputation could potentially tarnish the reputation of the whole royal family.
Do you regret the whole friendship with Epstein?
Now, still not.
A source told the Times of London, the prince loves his brother and has the ability to have sympathy for the slings and arrows that his brother endures, whatever the reasons may be. However, this will be unwelcome reputational damage to the institution. He has long ago concluded that it is probably an unsolvable problem. Charles' stance could also be seen by the way Andrew has been left out of certain events, photos, and commemorations. In August 2021, after the allegations had already become known, Andrew became the subject of a sexual abuse civil lawsuit by Virginia Giuffre. This has led to Andrew losing his military styles and ability to style himself as His Royal Highness as of January 2022. It has also led to the shutdown of his official social media platforms. The palace's statement regarding the matter reads, in part, "The Duke of York will continue not to undertake any public duties and is defending this case as a private citizen."
Prince Andrew is one of the most controversial members of the British royal family, while Prince William is one of the most well-liked. They also reportedly don't like each other, which might have something to do with the time Andrew allegedly made moves to steal the throne. Much has been made about the royal line of succession, that is, the order in which members of the royal family can become king or queen. As Queen Elizabeth's oldest child, Charles takes the first spot in the line of succession. The Queen's next oldest child, Princess Anne, was initially second in line, but that status was wiped out once the Queen's third child, Prince Andrew, arrived. Succession laws at the time stated that sons of a reigning monarch had precedence over daughters, although this rule was later changed. Up until the moment Prince William was born in June 1982, Andrew was second in line to the throne. It's hard to imagine Andrew ever ascending to the crown at this point, considering he is now outranked by William and William's children in order of birth, as well as Prince Harry and his children in order of birth. Still, there was likely once a time in which Andrew imagined that he could one day be king. These days, there's little chance of Andrew ever coming close. Prince Andrew has always made headlines for controversial reasons. In 1997, for example, Andrew reportedly proposed that he become Prince William's regent should the young boy need one. While the story has never been completely confirmed, in the weeks after Princess Diana's death, the royal family was reportedly concerned about the massive negative blowback they would receive as a result. This concern was especially centered around Charles, whom the public had begun to distrust following revelations of his affair with Camilla Parker Bowles. It was speculated that Charles might opt to not become king upon his mother's death, instead choosing to pass the crown directly to his then-teen son, William. As such, many wondered who would rule in the event that William was still a minor at the time of his grandmother's passing. As royal author Nigel Cawthorne told the Daily Beast, Queen Elizabeth's third child might have spied an opening for himself during this time. Cawthorne alleged, Andrew tried to push Charles out of the way during the Diana scandal. As Charles's popularity plummeted, Andrew lobbied the palace to install him as a regent for William. That has created friction between them, which persists to this day. Many royal commentators believe Prince William has never been particularly fond of his uncle Andrew. As a source told the Sunday Times in November 2019, William has reportedly spoken out against Prince Andrew within the royal family in the years since his uncle has been hit with allegations of sexual assault and abuse. The publication insists that William played a crucial role in the recent decision to remove Andrew from senior royal life. While speaking to the paper, the unnamed source was blunt, explaining, William is becoming more and more involved in decisions about the institution, and he's not a huge fan of his uncle Andrew. Prince William's reported ill will toward his disgraced uncle doesn't stop there, however. William is allegedly telling anyone who will hear him that he believes Andrew is a danger to the monarchy as a whole. An alleged friend of the future king told the Times that William is triggered by any family member he believes doesn't have the best interests of the monarchy as a whole at heart. The friend explained, any suggestion that there isn't gratitude for the institution, anything that could lead anyone in the public to think that senior members of the royal family aren't grateful for their position, William thinks is really dangerous. People magazine has also reported extensively on how William feels about Andrew these days, noting that he is united with his father, Charles, in the belief that there is absolutely no room for Andrew in the royal family. As anyone who has followed the Prince Harry and Meghan Markle debacle has recently learned, anytime someone in the royal family exits, their duties and patronages must be doled out to those who remain. As one of the Queen's children, Prince Andrew was once responsible for a wide variety of these duties. In December 2019, many began speculating that, in light of Andrew's own decision to step back from senior royal status, some of his duties would fall on the shoulders of William himself. For example, William was ushered off on a trip to Oman only a week after Andrew's announcement, where they met with representatives and youth from aid organization Outward Bound. As Russell Myers shared on a podcast that week,
I thought this was quite interesting because Prince Andrew was the patron up until last week.
It is currently believed that things are so dismal between Prince Andrew and Prince William that the latter now refuses to even pretend that he supports his uncle, at least while in the public eye. In January 2022, William avoided a question about Andrew's legal situation. William was leaving a museum when he was greeted by a reporter who asked whether Andrew has his support. After initially claiming he couldn't hear the question, William was quick to completely rebuff the reporter as he tried asking again. The question came on the heels of the palace's decision to remove Andrew's titles completely, which has been described by a palace source as a ruthless and swift decision, and one that was likely recommended by both Charles and William. While only time will tell if Prince Andrew's relationship with Prince William will ever improve, it's abundantly clear that the two aren't likely to spend any quality time together anytime soon.
Did Prince Andrew really go on TV and claim his daughter has more friends than her cousin, Prince Harry? What does Harry really think about Randy Andy's behavior? Here's some insight into Prince Andrew's relationship with Prince Harry. Both Prince Harry and Prince Andrew made headlines for their youthful indiscretions. In 2002, the BBC reported that a 17-year-old Harry was being sent to rehab by his father as punishment for smoking pot. After the incident, St. James Palace established that Prince Harry did, in fact, experiment with marijuana, but was certainly not a regular user. There were also headlines about the young Harry playing strip billiards, reportedly getting into a scrape with a cameraman, and wearing an extremely inappropriate costume. Still, whether it's to protect his family from the embarrassment or because he's truly a stand-up guy, Harry always seemed to admit his own fault in these situations and apologized publicly. As a younger man, Prince Andrew also earned his share of scandalous headlines, primarily to do with his reputation as the Playboy Prince, known for partying and dating a string of actresses and models. The Daily Mail once referred to his lifestyle as Randy Andy and his web of arm candy. Andrew has struggled to rid himself of his Randy Andy reputation for years, both before and after his relationship and decade-long marriage with Sarah Ferguson. This includes his scandalous 18-month-long relationship with actress Koo Stark, with whom he broke up after topless images of her from the 70s resurfaced. While some may think that these two men, who are both the rebellious black sheep of the royal family, would get along, Prince Andrew and Prince Harry don't seem like the buddies some may think they'd be. In 2018, Prince Andrew's daughter, Princess Eugenie, married her husband Jack Brooksbank, a mere 5 months after Prince Harry married his wife Meghan Markle. In an interview with This Morning, Prince Andrew made comments about the wedding that many viewers of the show took as negative and even competitive, including, "It will not be the same as the previous one that was held in May. This is not a public wedding. This is meant to be a family wedding." Despite Andrew's comment about his daughter's wedding being for family, compared to Harry and Meghan's wedding, Princess Eugenie and her groom invited more guests. Andrew added, "There will be a few more people than most people have. There are a few more than Harry had, but that's just the nature of Eugenie and Jack. They've got so many friends that they need a church of that size to fit them all in." Perhaps Prince Andrew was merely poking some good-natured fun at his nephew, but it's also possible he was throwing some shade. Rumors have circulated for years that Prince Andrew is not very polite to household staff. A former royal aide told the U.S. Sun, "I've seen him treat his staff in a shocking, appalling way. He's been incredibly rude to his personal protection officers, literally throwing things on the ground and demanding that they f***ing pick them up. No social graces at all." According to the 2013 biography, Harry, the People's Prince by Chris Hutchins, Prince Harry was raised with exceptional manners by his mother, Princess Diana. This reportedly led Harry to make a face when his uncle was rude to royal staff. Former Kensington Palace chef Darren McGrady, who was interviewed for the book, explained, "Andrew always came straight to the point and told you exactly what he wanted. Whereas Harry had been taught to say, 'Please, may I have?' Andrew would bark, 'Where are my mangoes? I want my mangoes.'" The case was settled out of court on February 15, 2022. Princess Eugenie, Prince Andrew's younger daughter and Prince Harry's cousin, has seemingly been caught in the middle of her family's drama. Eugenie has reportedly always been close with her cousin Harry and was known as his biggest supporter when he and his wife Meghan Markle decided to leave royal life behind and move to California, likely putting her in an awkward position with the rest of her family back home. Now, with her father's sexual assault scandal, she is being put in the middle of royal family drama once again. An inside source claimed, "Of course she wants to be there for Andrew and stay involved as the family strategizes on how to move forward. Eugenie is very close to her father. She may also feel she doesn't want to drag Harry's name into all this in the media by association. While Harry and Andrew may not be friendly these days, they seem to have Eugenie as a common ally."
Prince Andrew used to be seen as Prince Philip's favorite son. Used to, anyway. Family dynamics can be complicated, including the relationships between fathers and sons. That's especially the case when the father and son are part of a royal family. Prince Philip, the late husband of Queen Elizabeth II, and his son, Prince Andrew, have been long rumored to have a tumultuous relationship. Back in the 1990s, when the royal family was making tabloid headlines all over the world due to the dual controversies of Charles's separation from Princess Diana and Prince Andrew's divorce from Sarah Ferguson, Prince Philip was asked privately how he felt about the dissolution of both of his sons' marriages. He reportedly replied, "Everything I have worked for 40 years has been in vain." Yikes. Even before the scandal that ensued when Prince Andrew divorced his wife, it was rumored that Prince Philip would often lose his patience and even his temper with Andrew. His wife Sarah, commonly known as Fergie, was said to be his biggest defender. Back in 1986, journalist Sue Arnold wrote in the pages of Vanity Fair, "Andrew's romantic escapades, together with his penchant for practical jokes, earned him the reputation of royal loudabout town, a label that saddened his mother and annoyed his father." At the time, it was believed that Prince Philip actually admired Andrew's macho man attitude and preferred it to Charles's sensitive soul-searching. Even though he was thought to be occasionally frustrated by Andrew's antics, the thinking was that he may have been something of a favorite son. After Andrew stepped away from his royal duties, he was not seen by the public in any capacity until his father's funeral in 2021. Andrew, who reportedly was denied his request to wear an admiral's uniform at the service by his mother, according to the Daily Mail, still told reporters afterwards that the family was rallying round the Queen after their terrible loss. While news of Prince Philip's disdain for his son was often played out in the news, the pair were said to be quite close when Andrew was young. According to Nigel Cawthorne, who wrote the book Prince Andrew, Epstein, Maxwell, and the Palace, Philip saw an instant connection with Andrew when he was born. In fact, some in the royal family dubbed the two practically identical in their mannerisms. The book also reveals that Philip seemed more protective over Andrew, and in return, he, quote, was not put out by his father's commands and bonded closely with him. Andrew even followed in his father's footsteps by going to naval college instead of a university, according to royal historian Piers Brendan. Philip loved his time in the Royal Navy and was passionate about naval history, an affection that Andrew appeared to hold as well. When he was born, Andrew was also the first child to be given the surname Mountbatten-Windsor, which is in honor of Philip's last name, Mountbatten. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry also gave this surname to their son Archie as a nod to the Queen and Prince Philip.
When you're literally in line to rule a country, sibling disputes seem a bit more dire. From light bullying to family drama, this is the truth about Prince Andrew and Prince Edward's relationship. Due to the demands of preparing for royal life, Queen Elizabeth wasn't as present in her first two children's childhoods as she was for Prince Andrew and Prince Edward's. While all royal children have nannies, Andrew and Edward spent less time being raised by them than their elder siblings did. According to the Daily Mail, the Queen was far more present for her two youngest boys than she had been a decade earlier. This go-round, she would even cut work events short to spend some extra time in the Buckingham Palace nursery with her boys. Years later, Andrew and Edward still spend a decent amount of time with their mother. In 2016, the Queen was known to stop in to have a drink with Andrew after church most Sundays, and then have afternoon tea with Edward and his family. Siblings don't always get along. Apparently, this holds true even if you're royalty, as Prince Andrew and Prince Edward have had their own share of tussles as well. According to the 1993 book Royal Children by Ingrid Seward, when Andrew and Edward were kids, the older prince used to swipe at his younger brother and take things that he knew Edward wanted. After high school, Andrew went straight into the military and Edward went off to study at Cambridge, perhaps because of an admiration for his big brother, or a sense of royal duty. Edward tried his hand in the military as well after he was finished at Cambridge. However, Edward only made it through 4 months of officer training before quitting, whereas Andrew had a long naval career. Their professional lives continued along different paths. After Andrew's naval career, he retired and arguably took his royal duties more seriously, becoming a representative for trade and investment for a decade and serving as a working royal. Prince Edward's career, on the other hand, has been more involved with philanthropy and the entertainment industry. Since 2002, Edward has focused primarily on charity and his royal duties as a working royal. After Prince Andrew was accused of sexually assaulting an underage girl, the royal family eventually responded. Prince Andrew was stripped of his royal duties as well as his military titles in January 2022. According to a royal source, the decision to do so had been widely discussed amongst members of the royal family who will be the ones to take over Andrew's roles, including Prince Edward, as Harper's Bazaar reported. We doubt this made the brothers' bond any closer.
That's a very stark way of putting it. Yes, you're absolutely right.
After the scandal surrounding Prince Andrew and his association with Jeffrey Epstein started making headlines, some believe that Prince Edward in particular has been avoiding his older brother. It's been reported that Edward has stopped going to ride his horses at Windsor Great Park, though he had previously gone most days. The speculation is that he has stopped riding out of fear of running into Andrew. According to the Daily Mail, a source from the palace denies any strife and says that things are fine between the brothers, adding that Edward has just been, quote, too busy to keep up his leisure activities. Still, another insider claimed, Edward doesn't think it is wise to be seen anywhere near Andrew at the moment, and he certainly has nothing he wants to say to him about the case.